This is the Dos a Cero podcast, a weekly show devoted to football in Mexico, the U.S., and beyond. If you are a Pocho, Puma, Regio, Chiva, Cholo, Fresa, Tigre, Tapatío, Chilango, or even a Methodist, pull up a chair, crack open a cold one, and enjoy the next 90 minutes of heated football debate. Thus begins the Dos a Cero podcast. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Dos a Cero Football Podcast, a weekly podcast that is devoted to mainly discussing Mexican soccer. We touch on other very important subjects that we'd like for you to join us tonight, if you could. We're live on YouTube right now, so please send us your questions or comments. And of course, we're on iTunes later in the week. You can download our podcast there. My name is John Jagu. Glad to be with you guys again this evening at a weekly Dos a Cero Football Podcast, Ya Merito production, brought to you by SoccerChronicle.com. It's kind of that interesting period of the year where there's not really much going on, but then of course I think everyone remembered that the Euro is going on. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the continued after effects of the 7-0 that happened a couple of weeks ago in Santa Clara, and we'll talk a little club stuff, among other things. And of course we'll talk about a big retirement that happened this Sunday in the New Jersey Meadowlands with Messi calling it quits. We'll talk about that as well. Tonight with us, over in Kyle, Texas, we have Albert El Chiquis Campa. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up, homies? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. You joined. Are we back to our proper Texas summer?
Yeah, nice and cool, nice and warm.
It is definitely warm. Over in Los Angeles, a gentleman who is very prescient, very pragmatic. He writes for Footmex Nation, among other things. Of course, we're talking about Joel Aceves. How are you, sir?
Greetings, Jon. I'm doing good.
Did you tune in to the launch of Chivas TV today?
I did not, and I heard that it froze.
It did freeze. It was not good. It was not good for the folks there.
Yeah, I work nights now, John. So I came home and went to bed. I missed it.
Do you think Elvis made an appearance?
I did get into a few arguments though before I hit, with I feel the whole concept of Chivas TV it contradicts the club. It goes against the club's principles.
You're absolutely right. Well, that's a topic that maybe you can discuss a little later in the show. Maybe you can discuss it with Juan Uribe, who joins us from La Bella Aerosa down in Pachuca once again. Juan, how are you?
Hey, John. No, not good at all, man. I've been, whenever you come down to Mexico, Moctezuma, he's always lingering in the background. He finally got me yesterday.
Yeah, well, they say you can't really drink the water. I've always found, every time I go to Mexico, well, not that I do it very often anymore, unfortunately, but when I do go, it's the drinking that gets me. So I have to ask, how much have you been drinking?
That's the thing, man. I've avoided tacos. I've avoided drinking just so I can, I pretty much stuck to prepackaged food. And guess what got me? Freaking yogurt, man. A yogurt.
Well,
prepackaged yogurt.
I'm not going to lie. That's probably the one food I would never eat in Mexico is yogurt.
That's weak sauce, dude. You gotta have a stronger stomach than that.
Oof.
Hey, man. Well, I've been trying to be careful, and then.
Oh man, don't be trying to be careful. Maybe you're being.
Yeah, you got it. That was the whole point of going, man. You should have had the tacos right outside the airport. There.
Yeah, exactly.
Right outside the airport. Just get it over with.
Get the what was it called?
Get acclimated.
Es una vacuna, way. I mean that's
exactly.
You need to get vacunado, and then you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Get the dose and.
Juan, Creo que estás bien agringado, because that
Yeah.
hasn't happened to me when I've gone, dude. You're losing your Mexi card.
Well, not only that, but you were also, I mean, honestly, you're eating prepackaged food. That's like the worst thing you could eat. It's a good thing Ronnie's not on because he would, I mean.
That's very pocho of you.
You know what? I mean, I'm going to go ahead and play it because he would just.
It's time for Ronnie's rant. Ronnie's rant.
Let me take a step back and say that I thought I was visiting Waco Loco approved eating joints. They charge extra for whack. You know what I'm saying? Even in Mexico.
Indeed.
But,
well, Juan, you were in Pachuca today, so you didn't get to watch the launch of Chivas TV. You missed it.
I checked the Twitter, man. They pushed it back to July 1st.
So today was just a soft open. Is that?
Hey,
I mean, I don't follow Chivas, so I have no idea. I mean, is this something that they've been promoting? Hey, we're going to start this channel on this date, and see another thing. I mean, who on earth thinks that they can launch a channel like that in 3 months? I mean, seriously.
Beto Campas no the idea.
It was an announcement with the details, pricing options, viewing options. It was just like a show, a preview show, like Apple does, detailing all the information and everything. It was ridiculous, but
their options don't make sense too. But I guess we'll get into it more.
Okay.
Because like it says all the games are on 2-hour delay, and I was like, wait a minute, what?
Did it start with that?
No, man. You know what it is? Higuera blocked Jolie's Twitter account. Otherwise, he'd get those recommendations like, hey, the first video should be Elvis, singing Guadalajara.
He blocked you, Joel?
Yes, but that was a few months back.
That's terrible.
Every time he had an announcement, I would just go in and I wouldn't troll him. I would just contradict stuff and bring up his Americanismo. And I guess he had enough.
Now, Joel, you mentioned at the very top of the show that you feel that Chivas TV is an affront to what the club's tradition and what it stands for. So please elaborate.
It is. Chivas is a very working class team. It is. A lot of the very poor Mexico fans, they're Chivas fans.
Well, let me ask you this: the Club Deportivo Guadalajara, was it open to the public or was it private? Like the actual Club Deportivo Guadalajara, like the.
That's a good question, John. I don't even know because it's been so long. I
know they have nothing to do with the club now. I mean, I understand that.
But in Mexico, the whole concept of clubs went out the window pretty quick. These companies came in.
Club, right? Or at least.
Once TV Azteca bought them, they were the last to go. Same with Chivas.
So they're no longer a private club.
No, same with Chivas when Vergara came in. But even before that, you did have the group of people that owned the actual stock. But, it seems like they didn't care for the team. They were just...
but the club still exists. They just don't have an affiliation with the team.
But Ronnie has brought this up that there used to be an Asociación Civil, which makes them a not-for-profit entity.
Right.
And then when Vergara came in, he kind of just
Anónima.
Sociedad Anónima. But because they did have the facilities that the members they could visit.
Right.
Remember, Jolie?
But they still have a club. It's just not affiliated with the team. So the Club Deportivo Guadalajara still exists. It's like Pumas that has no affiliation with the university, but they still call themselves UNAM.
What does Cárdenas own, Jolie? What does he own? What is he fighting?
Yeah, because he says that they're saying it's two separate things: a non-for-profit and then what Vergara has. So that's what they're fighting, but I don't think they won anything. They're just not going anywhere.
So the pricing, Albert, you mentioned the pricing. So do they have like different like okay, for these crappy games it's going to be this much. These games are a little better, so we're going to charge you this much. Which game are they charging more for? Atlas or
America came.
But they're charging for. They have 3 levels of per team game charges. So like the lower level teams are one price. like a Cruz Azul Pumas, that's another price, and then America's the top price.
So what does that say to the other teams in the league? I mean, that is just so stupid to put that on a chart.
Yeah, they're trying to gouge, and it's messed up because at the beginning of their little conference thing, they were talking about how I forget what they said. That guy said. He said I tweeted it out, but he said basically that Mexico doesn't have they have a wide range of resources that the people have. Some are really
Really?
poor and some are rich. So they're trying to appease to everyone.
So basically, you're saying that the
prices
poor people can only watch Chivas Jaguares. If you're
Yeah,
middle class, you can step up and watch a little Chivas Pumas.
yeah.
And for you rich people, we're going to go ahead and give you the Super Clásico.
And then they have prices for torneo, and then prices for the year. And I think there's a third one. I forget what it was, but
I got the what is that called, the volante in front of me or whatever.
yeah.
Like the Clásico Nacional is 500 pesos.
How much is that? How much does that come down to in dollars?
That's like $45.
It's like, yeah, the conversion rate's like 17 right now. So it's about
$30 now.
Yeah, maybe between 30, about 30.
Wait, so $30 to watch one game?
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
To watch a Clásico Molero?
But that's a per game, like a per game option that.
Yeah, so if you just want to buy that game, it's going to cost you 500 Ps. But if you want to buy the whole season, it'll be 1,000. Or if you want to buy,
and then on top of that, if you're like, if you don't have that much money, you still need to pay for an internet connection. And then who knows how good that could be.
And then you got to get a Cat 5 table or cable, or you have
Check
to
this
get
out.
wireless.
They got a monthly package where you can still watch the games, but and it includes all the games, the Liga, Liguilla, y Copa, and other repetitions. But the games will be on 2-hour delay, but it's only 50 pesos a month, which is actually
2-hour delay, so you've got to stay in to avoid spoilers.
And not only that, but cambiaron de horario. They're going to play at Saturdays at 9. So if you want to watch Chivas on Saturday, it's going to be at 11 o'clock at night.
It's garbage.
and then
2-hour delay.
yeah, so they got like 4 or 5 4 tiers of options. They got like a full access. That's the 2,750 pesos.
They would have been rioting in Argentina right now.
Wait,
They were doing that to Boca Juniors.
But Argentina doesn't show any games on TV.
What?
Argentina doesn't show the
I
league
saw a lot
on
of
TV.
games on TV.
No. How long ago were you there?
3 years ago.
Well, it's my understanding that they do not show La Liga Argentina on Televisión Libre. It's either all on cable or satellite, if they even show games at all.
But their satellite, like the Sky, I forgot which one is it. I don't think it's that expensive, because I ended up going to one of the villas, which is like it's like what they call they're really poor, and they had like all these makeshift homes out of tin,
And they all had satellite dishes.
Yeah, I didn't realize I took some pictures and I was checking them when I was back home, and I was like, they all had a Sky dish on top.
Hey, but Jolie, that's because their price is probably relative to what they can afford. So if they were better off, where they could pay,
Yeah, but over there, every other game is a Clásico. Can you imagine if they have to pay $30 to watch it?
No, but I'm talking about the price. Like you're saying that their satellite is cheaper.
This is not going to work. This is not going to work for Chivas. At least not initially. It's going to be
Well, and the thing about it, their stream crashed like right at the very beginning. Their website basically crashed. It didn't work.
I'm pretty sure Beto knows how it went down.
Yeah, I mean, their service is junk. The only other stream that worked was one on YouTube. So they need to outsource to somebody like YouTube or some big hitters like Netflix or something like that to get this running. If they're doing this in-house, it's going to fail badly.
See, that to me is still the biggest problem with this medium, is that there's latency, there's interruptions, or it could just go down. That doesn't happen with unless it's like just raining terribly. Doesn't
And in
happen with a
Mexico,
satellite signal. It doesn't happen with telephone lines. It's
yeah, and
just
in Mexico, their level of internet speeds, like you can get
it's
broadband
terrible.
internet. The lowest level, like in the U.S., is it's decent. You can stream. The lowest level in Mexico is like almost dial-up speeds.
Yeah.
You have to pay an extra premium for.
In
for
fact,
the speeds.
when you plug in your network or you get on the wireless, they should just go ahead and play the America Online your connecting sound, because that's
They
basically
even
what
talk
you're
about
doing.
the specs required. They're like 2 megabits down and all this stuff. Who talks when you're talking about Netflix? Who talks about you need 5 meg down and all this stuff? That's for like olden day stuff, man.
I'm gonna update you guys. Well, at least here in Pachuca, like I was talking to some people about their internet, and they say they get 10 gigs of data, and that they can watch Netflix and everything, no problems. So I think on that end it will work, because the 10 gigs it was for, the lady told me was 380 pesos.
That's
So
not the
10
base package, though. I bet
20
Huh?
bucks.
that's not the base package. That's probably like one of the higher or
No,
medium.
she told me it was like a basic package, but she probably has like cable, man. But dude, a lot of people have internet here. I think it's more widespread than we realize.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's increased a huge amount since like 5 years ago.
Well, they were doing they were doing like a study with Slim had invited Zuckerberg. He did like this. They had this like, I forgot what it's called, dude. But they were talking about there's about 60 million people in Mexico that don't have internet access. So they were it was like dude, I can't think of the word. Uh,
When
but
they share,
anyways, huh?
when they share it.
No, it was like sponsored by Telmex, which is the biggest. Telmex is the biggest internet provider in Mexico. It's
That's
owned by
Carlos Slim outfit.
yeah, it's owned by Carlos Slim, and they were having this. Oh, it's a convention. There you go. So he was having a convention, and he had, one of the main dudes invited was from Facebook, Zuckerberg. So I guess part of it was like they were trying to figure out how do you get internet to all those, 60 million. That's a lot of money that you could make right there, and I do feel this is part of it, the whole Chivas thing.
So you're saying it's but a small piece of a bigger picture.
Yeah, I do feel that way. Like I don't think it matters if it fails, if people don't buy the package, but they could probably see how many more people will or just how much you could get away with.
Monterrey did this like 4 or 5 years ago. They didn't have a TV deal, and they streamed. And I remember watching, because Pumas played them. This was when Monterrey was really good and Pumas was really bad. So I watched part of their game. They were playing at Tecnológico, and Monterrey smoked. So I had to watch for like the first 20 minutes. But that was on Medio Tiempo. Medio Tiempo streamed it, and it was free.
Oh, it was free.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, that's what's so stupid about this deal, is that why are you making people pay? If you want to see how it goes, you do it for free the first year, and I mean, I'm sorry, you can do it for free and you'll still make money if there's enough people you can sell the advertising.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that hasn't really been said. But if you could look, like, you'll find if you read reports, is that they're having a hard time getting a main sponsor, because Bimbo has been pulling out of the football. They're not going to continue with a lot of teams. So that's been Chivas' main sponsor for many years.
Did you know that Bimbo is the third largest food company on the planet?
I had no idea. Interesting fact. Fun fact.
Jody's going to get his Chivas jersey finally, though, since he won't have to deal with the translation error.
Yeah, you know what? I've been boycotting it since that. When I would do Bimbo if it had the little bear, though. I don't know. You remember their old logo?
Ate a Bimbo product today. They have so many labels in the U.S. that they just left alone. But if you ever read like the paper, the bottom of the bag, it says product of Bimbo.
Wonder Bread.
I like their old logo, John. It has a little bear with a chef hat.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
And I play with this Equipo Llanero Sunday pub teams, and they had the old way back when Irapuato was in first division, and the jersey had the little bear, dude.
Did your team give up a Sunday pub goal like England did yesterday to Iceland on the throw-in?
we give mini goals like that, John.
Hey, another thing they talked about on the conference for Chivas TV was they were promoting sort of sharing, like everyone getting together and sharing a subscription. And Lisa brought up something that was pretty interesting about like somebody, like say Footmex Nation gets a subscription, just shares the password out with the whole community. So there's like 50 people just like using the same account.
But don't you think they'll do it like Netflix or something where you have to register and then you can only be registered in so many devices?
That's top level though, man. That's top level stuff. I don't know if they're capable of that, John.
Dude, because they don't have that. They already lost half their subscriptions.
They're basically playing to the people who can't afford it by saying that. They're saying like, well, we know this is outrageous and stuff, but here you can do this. They're almost to the point of saying, yeah, go ahead and pirate us. If you can't afford it, try pirating at us.
I'm telling you, it makes no sense to me that they would charge people the first year. Just make it free. Take the measurement. And
I think Chivas is being used as guinea pigs, John, and I feel that's part of the reason they got those León players.
Hey, Beto, that's not how I understood it. I'm sorry, Jolie. Go ahead. Before we change the subject to the León players,
we should have a new segment called Chiva contra Chiva. Go ahead.
Well, because the way they worded it to me, it sounded like, all right, if you have a Guaco Loco place and you set up a TV and you're serving drinks and snacks and food, we don't mind you streaming it to all these people, or let's say me and Jolie, like we say, hey Jolie, let's meet up. We'll split a subscription. But
you know what? That's probably what's gonna happen. Where it's like you're gonna have restaurants or bars, and they're gonna show it, and people are gonna go see it at, you're gonna have to go to the pub to see the match.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. But maybe I'm looking at it differently.
Yeah, I'm saying they're not technically savvy enough to restrict.
No, I don't know if you can say that.
So
can you really
can you watch it in the U.S. then? Will you be able to, or only in Mexico?
Televisa blocks me from watching any content being up here in the States because they protect Univision. I'm sorry, Univision.
Oh.
Yeah. So
the possibility is there.
Univision.
I don't know if they would implement it because they might be hosing. Well, they probably would. But they'd be hosting a lot of people. I'm
pretty sure that like for us, we won't be able to watch, at least not this year, because Univision has the rights to their.
I think Tom said that there was a U.S. option, like $9 a month or something like that.
Why would you want to buy it if you get it free?
Why would you want to pay for that when you get it for free?
Well, the 50 pesos a month is not bad if you don't watch the games live anyways, and because you can watch all the. You
can replays.
But what are the odds that you could see it in Roja Directa or other sites like that?
I don't know what Roja Directa is, Joel. I've never been to it. I've never seen it. I've never used it.
You can stream them live, but you can't watch. Like, let's say you want to watch the game later, and if you didn't record it, you can't find it on Roja Directa. It's very hard to find.
Somos leyendas del fútbol mexicano.
Roja Directa is a website where
I know what it is. I was just kidding.
Oh, all right. But I don't want to advocate people going there.
No.
Other than for research purposes.
Exactly. Or what was like the original one? Was it channelsurfing.net?
Justin TV.
Justin TV.
Yeah, Justin TV.
I used to, back before the 2010 World Cup, I would stream Giovanni's Fenerbahce games.
Oh.
Or was it? No, it was Fenerbahce. No, he was with.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, Galatasaray. Galatasaray. Yeah.
Yeah, they had all those obscure teams and stuff.
Crazy. So, verdict: Chivas, good move, bad move. I think terrible move.
Yeah, I agree. Terrible.
Badly executed.
Well, there's no question. I think they'll be back on TV next year. That's my guess.
Do you think they're crawling back to Televisa?
No, I think they're going to go with Claro.
Whoa!
Because that's
Keep
sense.
it in the Slim
You know,
family.
I wrote an article like 5 years ago when I forget who it was, but it was Santos or somebody and Cruz Azul who they decided to simulcast. I know that ESPN and Azteca used to have a thing, but I said, you know, at some point a team is going to go, you know what? I don't need to be part of either of these if they're negotiating. And it was a big deal to break that up. And I think that, and I was, you know, people gave me all sorts of, oh, this is nothing. It's no big deal. They're just rebroadcasting, blah blah blah. And yeah, I mean, when other TV partners come in, other teams, especially if the teams are negotiating individually with the network, there's no reason why they just have to negotiate with the two. And I think we're starting to see that. And obviously now we're seeing it with Chivas moving away. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they go with somebody other than Televisa and Azteca when they do come back to TV, which they will.
You know, that's a dangerous move for Chivas, though, because they're not out of their descenso problems. So they have a bad coming year, which
They
can
have
happen.
they have to make the liguilla in the Apertura to just put all that to bed. They have to. They have no choice.
But you have to keep in mind that sometimes there's error in each game that's considered a human error factor with the referees, where they could make a bad call. Like what was
Chivas
that?
never. I know what you're talking about. So,
And with the televisoras upset at Chivas, I could see a lot more
so you're
errors.
saying that the refs might swallow a whistle when they should blow it, or like accidentally trip and blow the whistle when something
No,
happens.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Hey man, it's happened.
But
Just
don't
look-
you think they would be benefiting America if that were the case?
Yeah, they have in the past.
El Mil Moles is not here to counter that. I'll leave it up to him.
I saw the other day Chiqui Marco.
Is he retired?
I don't know what he's doing, man. I don't know what he's doing.
Well, where'd you see him? Like at a bar? Was he like
No,
passed
Pachuca.
out on the street?
No, he was talking to a youth
Cancer
coach, or
I'm sorry?
yeah, he was talking to a youth coach. So, because remember,
At
didn't he get his director técnico license?
Good for him. Do they all have to have the same haircut to be on his team?
Was he selling gel?
Wouldn't that be awesome if Chiqui Marco's team, every single one of his players had the same haircut?
That would be awesome.
Oh, all right.
Speaking of refs, that ref in the Argentina-Chile game, that was hilarious.
He was a terrible ref, man.
Was he Brazilian? What was he?
He was Brazilian.
Yeah, Brasileño.
Yeah.
There was not to deviate too far, but there was this one. I think he gave a card to Biglia or something, and he ran all the way up into his face and just stuck that card in his face. I would have bowed up to that dude, man. He just basically humiliated.
You would have squared up to him.
And not only that, but like
square
might
root.
as well wound up with his hand, and it just shot the card at him. Just really
he was running at people, straight bull rushing people and getting in their face and saying whatever he was saying.
You saw when he gave
I like the refs that look disappointed when they have to give a yellow card. It's like me, they see the foul, and they walk up to the guy like, "Man, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to write you up for that." And he pulls the card out and writes the name.
Yeah.
And there's guys like Chiqui Marco that do it dramatically, and then he has like 2 yellow cards in case he needs to double. Remember that when he was double fisting yellow cards, one for you, because he had 2.
Yeah, this guy was flexing when he gave a yellow card, man, arching his back and all kinds of stuff.
Really? Oh, was he like bodybuilding, like posing, like Hans and Franz, and just yellow card.
Yeah, he's flexing his pectorals at him and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, like Terry Crews does, like a little dance with his pecs.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the Copa America, that's a nice segue. Well done, Albert.
Oh,
For
unintentional. Thank you.
Of course, Chile won. They won the second consecutive. They beat Argentina again after another 0-0 game in penalties. The Argentines have just had bad luck with the penalty kicks in this tournament against Chile the last couple of years. I mean, you can't really pin it on anything else. I mean, they just, And Lionel was a little frustrated, and he said, "You know what? I'm done with the team." So I don't think he'll be available for qualifiers. I don't think he wants to travel personally, but I think that he'll play the World Cup. I think that he'll come out of retirement for the World Cup, and he'll give it one last go.
He's emotional. He's a little baby. That's not the right mindset to be in right after that type of game to make that decision.
No, I agree, but I mean, he said it. We have to talk about it. I think it was kind of like you. It just was, I think that he had other things in mind, and this was just a way to him step away for a bit.
I wonder what all the
will.
details with the federation is, like the whole picture, because there might be a huge issue with, because there's all kinds of rumors about all the players retiring.
They're fighting for the presidency because after Julio Grondona passed away, I forget the name of the dude that took over, but he sold like some television rights and it was fraudulent. So
the AFA makes Femex Food look like the Deutscher Fußballbund. I mean, seriously.
So, yeah,
AFA's so corrupt.
That guy got sacked, so everyone's been fighting to control the AFA, including Macri, who's in politics.
It is a major power struggle right now.
So yeah, that's been going on over there. It's just very divided.
And Gondrona he was draconian. I mean, he was the president for what, 40 years?
Yeah, and he was with FIFA. He was vice president of FIFA.
Yeah, he
was. How is that affecting the players though? Like, why are they complaining? Why is Messi complaining about waiting in an airplane for an hour or something?
Well, I don't necessarily think he was complaining about. What did he specifically say was about? Hey, we're waiting for an hour. This
he posted an Instagram. He's like, we're sitting here, and he took a picture of him and some other dude. We've been waiting here for an hour. Thanks, AFA, for whatever.
Oh, maybe they were waiting for AFA to get on the plane. Maybe they were like getting drunk at the TGI Fridays over by Terminal C, and they forgot they had a flight.
Oh, geez. But there's got to be something else. There got to be other issues.
There's no question. I understand that I have to hold my tongue, but just.
Yeah,
because FIFA stepped in and they said if they didn't resolve it, they were going to appoint. They were going to appoint people to the federation, and then they had that bomb scare, which was probably made up to buy them time.
Yeah, it's like I said, I mean, I personally don't think. I think that Messi está peleado con la AFA. There's no question, and I think that what he said was his way of saying, I'm not going to play for Argentina for a while, but until these guys get their act together. And I don't think that that's going to happen until they make the World Cup, and then he'll come back.
Yeah, there's just too much sponsorship money on him, missing such a tournament.
But exactly, and not only that, but his sponsorship. He's one of the few guys that does well internationally. Just playing for his club, so I don't think he has to worry. Like he himself has to worry about that. So, and I bet you Barcelona is saying, dude, you're getting to the age where you do, 3 transatlantic trips or 4, however many they do in a year. So that's, you're not going to recover as quickly from those. When and if you want to stick around here, I'm telling you, there's something else going on here that we're probably not privy to, which is.
I think he has 2 World Cups left in him, John.
Well, he's going to be what, 31?
31.
Yeah, and then he'll be a contención when he's 35. And then if he plays one more like Lothar Matthäus, he'd be the libero, the sweeper.
Oh man, at 30.
Could you imagine Messi as the libero? What a badass he would be. Seriously.
What's up, guys?
Fernando.
Pernalgas.
Release the Kraken!
How's it going, Fernando?
I'm doing well. I'm driving right now, but I should be available.
You haven't had some cocktails tonight, have you, Fernando?
Oh, no.
I, ne-
Really busy.
I want to congratulate Bernardo for wrestling Klinsmann. That was.
Did
pretty
you
good.
ask him a question?
You didn't see the
Fernando?
video on my Twitter?
Yeah, you got to see the video.
Yeah, you gotta see it, man.
Oh,
When he-
let's
when he
fire
sent me
this
that
up right
video.
now.
When he sent me that video, I thought, oh, man, that might not have been the right question to ask, but I was like, oh, jeez. It blew up.
Yeah, let's see. Who can give
You
it
want me
to? Yeah, somebody can play it if they like.
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
I'm on it. I'm on
You got
it.
it? Okay. Yeah, and then,
Was it the question about bunkering?
Yeah.
or possession. It was possession question.
Giving up
The
possession.
results. Is that this?
Oh, yeah, the microphone, too? Did they give you the
Hello,
microphone
Jurgen,
to
this is
ask?
Fernando
Yeah.
from SoccerChronicle.com. In the last few games, the U.S. team has been giving up possession to the opponent, but you've been getting good results. Is that the strategy that the U.S. team will go from now on?
Just hearing that makes me laugh, man.
He had like this smirk, kind of smug type look.
Yeah.
He had
That's
like this fuck you look. If you see the
Hey,
video,
that is a legit. I'm sorry, but that is a legitimate question to ask. There's nothing wrong with that.
And then there's proper stats to back that up.
Yeah, I mean, you asked of. See, that's what cracks me up, is I'm sure Jurgen's like, I never get questions like this. No, people ask me, Jurgen, why are you so great?
That's
Jurgen,
actually
why didn't your greatness help the team win today?
if
Seriously,
you
those are the questions he gets.
Yeah, if you listen to the rest of the, the interview questions, you can see it. You can find it on CONMEBOL's Facebook page. You can see the whole entire press conference, and they were just like, kind of relevant to the game, but in reality, it doesn't touch up on the issues of why they lost, how can you improve, none of that.
And then that says a lot, Fernando, to ask a question like that. When I was at the one of the FC Dallas games, one of the first ones that I did earlier in the year, when they played, I think it was Montreal. Montreal has the Argentine, was it Piatti? Remember him against America? Really good player, very decent player. And he was just ripping them apart for the first 15, 20 minutes. I mean, everything he tried, it worked. And, they came really close to scoring like 2 or 3 times. And then he just disappeared. And I asked Pareja, I said, well, what did you guys do? Because he was just killing you. And then he said, you're right. He was smoking us. And then he said, but what we had to do, and then he explained tactically what he did, which, frankly, I don't really care. But, I mean, it was just like, obviously he noticed that and he made the adjustment, which is what you'd want your coach to do. And the adjustment he made, I think he made something like they started pinching him with the like the wing back or something like that to close off the space. And he said that's what they ended up, and it ended up working. But anyway, so those are good questions to ask. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking a coach about as long as you have the confidence and your own ability to understand the sport. Most of us have played, so we know.
But the best part was that Pern did have the stats to back it up. So if Jurgen did try to contend that, he could have, he would have had him there. So that's part of the reason why he didn't really. His answer was so short.
He just wanted to skip it.
This is my issue with it, though, well, first of all, I don't have really an issue with what Pern asked, but this is my perceived issue with the question. Of course, it's not his purpose or his team's purpose to lose possession. They just can't keep possession. So it's not a strategy, it's just the limitation of their players. So it's sort of like saying, Coach, why can't your players have good first touch and good control?
But then this is my problem with coaches like Klinsmann, is that instead of realizing that and understanding that, say, hey, you know what, we're not very good at keeping possession, so what we need to do is play like Algeria did in Brazil, or what Italy, how Italy does, especially in the second half. I mean, they just absorb and counter, and there's nothing wrong with that. Until you get guys that can hold the ball, then play like that. But if you don't have the guys to, if you're forcing players to do something that they're just not capable of doing, you're only asking for trouble.
My question was mostly because to me, I actually thought, from the point of view, and the reason why I asked, I told him, you've been giving up possession. I thought it was by design because if you look at the first match versus the first Colombia match, USA actually had more possession, but they lost. And the other next games, they actually gave up possession and they got the results to get them through. So that's the reason why I said, you guys you've been giving up possession, giving up, been getting good results. So it was actually my question was if that was by design, if that's going to be the strategy from now. And unfortunately, he didn't want to elaborate on that.
That's bad on him though, because Ronnie was talking about the cat and mouse type of game where you sort of like just loft it over so that they can try to attack and then you do a counter or something. That's actually what the U.S. is good at doing, and that's what they should doing. I don't think that Jurgen knows that and is consciously using that as a tactic, which in
Well, I think he
this case,
does, but
yes.
but I think he wants them to play. He wants them to play a game that, and I don't mean this as a knock to American players. I mean, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. This isn't biased in any way. But his players right now just don't have the capacity to play the way he wants them to play. So
I agree with
if
that.
he understands that and realizes that, then yeah, he should say, well, this isn't working. How can I get it to work? But he made all these promises about, we're going to be more dynamic and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, that's great. It's saying it one thing, and then you put it to practice for 5 years. It's not working. There's something that works very well with this team and has worked for 15 years before you got here, and it's been effective. And if you do that well, then you can be a really good team.
Yeah, they went from possession style to playing with grit, and they got
I
them
mean,
results.
it's amazing. Algeria uh, in the World Cup in Brazil. If Neuer wouldn't have been the guy that he was that day, I mean, they would have just shredded Germany, shredded them, because they got so many great counters off. But Neuer was just terrific as playing ultimo hombre,
Hey,
which I don't think every goalie is going to do.
I think you were talking about 2010 World Cup with Landon Donovan, USA versus Algeria.
No, I'm talking about Algeria. And did you guys watch Algeria last summer in the World Cup? They were they
I
were
did not.
they were an absolute classic absorb and counter team, but their counterattacks were just lethal. They were deadly. They had
Yes, I
really,
remember
really
now.
great
Yes, I
technical
remember.
wingers. I mean, they were just devastating. And I think it was Korea. They hung 5 on them, and then they beat Russia. And I forget who their other game was. Oh, it was against Belgium, I think it was. No, it wasn't Belgium. Oof, I forget who it was. But they ended up qualifying for the second round. They played Germany, and Germany they beat them in extra time. Finally, it was 2-1. But Algeria would just unleash these incredible counters where they'd have a 3-on-1, but Neuer would come up and cut it off. And and not every goalie is going to do that. That's why as Joel said, Brody did that for 15 years and nobody cared. And all of a sudden, the German does it, and I think he's the greatest goalie in
Yeah,
history.
Higuita would play the same. I don't even remember
Yeah.
how
Oh
he
yeah.
lost the ball. He lost the ball in the '90 World Cup against Cameroon.
Roger Milla did yeah. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
anyway, so
that's going back to '90. So it's funny how they just
yeah,
they make it seem like this guy invented it.
right. But the U.S. I mean, and that's what you're good at. There's no. Why don't you be really good at that? Look at the way Italy's played Spain. Did you guys watch that game? Was it yesterday, Monday?
I did get to see it.
That was that. I mean, how entertaining was Italy? I mean, I can't tell you how long it's been since I've seen them play
Now,
like
would
that.
you say they had really good rotaciones, John?
Well, what they have, Joel. Funny you mentioned about. It's funny because they're criticizing the Spain coach for not having rotaciones. So I think it's more. But anyway, but
You know why Italy was doing really well is because they decided to take good quality strikers and left MLS striker Jovinko, and They didn't
You know,
count
the coach mentions that at every press conference. He like the first thing he says, you see why I didn't bring Joey? No. I think that I want to say that
I believe
either
it.
4 or 5 of the Italy players are Juventus players.
They played
Good
together,
point, John.
and
That's a good
Conte
point.
Conte was their coach.
Yeah, and exactly. So it's the coach and the Juventus players. You know, what a shock! They're doing well at a tournament against guys that play together once every 6 months.
And
Yeah, he's a really good coach.
and then Spain's moved away from their Barcelona base as well, right?
Yeah, well, they have no Barcelona base anymore. You're exactly right. Yeah, that's because it was just
Xavi's
Iniesta.
gone. Xavi's gone. Messi retired.
He doesn't play for
Real
Spain.
It's
Real
Busquets.
Madrid
They have
infiltrated.
Busquets, Iniesta, and
Iniesta,
Piqué.
Busquets,
And that's it.
Piqué.
Everybody else is
Valdez, the goalie, right? Well,
well, the
No,
goalie's
the
De
goalie's
Gea.
Claudio Bravo. And the other one's
Yeah,
German.
yeah, the
Pierre
goalie's De
Terce.
Gea for Spain, and then there was Juan Fran and Sergio Ramos. And
So they had-
but there was like 3 Barcelona instead of the 8 Barcelona guys that they
they had
had.
David Villa. David Villa, right? Pedro, when all those guys were in Barcelona.
Fabregas was at Barcelona. Of course, Xavi and
I keep
Yes.
forgetting. I always forget the name of their defender. The guy that had
Piqué.
the curly.
Puyol.
oh, Carlos Puyol,
Puyol. Yeah, there you go. He was
Sanson Tarzan.
Captain
Puyol?
Caveman.
Captain Caveman.
One thing I heard that was ridiculous on the announcements for these games was it was like they talked about the end of Joga Bonito and then now the end of Tiki Taka, which I thought was ridiculous. There's no end of a type of style of play. Tiki Taka is still going to be popular, and Brazil's still going to have their style of play and have success on it.
You know what?
You have no idea
I have-
how heartbroken I am about Brazil. Seriously.
You know what the whole tiki taka thing though? It's they play like that in South America for years, man. There we go again with they do something in Europe and it's like
The first
all
time
of a
they-
sudden it seems like they're innovative, but man, look at a lot of games in Libertadores or just South American qualifiers. You'll see that type of passing.
Well,
It's,
it's
nothing new.
it's not just about the passing. It's about the high lines in the defense.
Yeah, you could color code it any way you want. It's still
No. Well, that's the big essence of it because see, when you have players within 10 feet of each other, you can easily do the tiki taka, and in order for you to do that, you gotta tienes que levantar líneas, So
yeah,
that
but
way
it's still. I mean, do you have to do that? Because they've been doing it in South America. They'll do like 20.
Well, that's
they'll
what's
have the-
revolutionary about it is that you have so many players so close to you. To be
Yeah,
able
but
to
they
do
have
that.
these are teams with world class players. They can play any way you tell them to. Those are the best of the best. Dude. You got them play kick and rush, and they'll still. I'm pretty sure they'll still win the majority of games.
Can they do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke?
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And that's one of the reasons why you see that style in South America, because the climate's a little warmer. Not all South America, but so you're gonna maybe move around a little less, kind of work your way up. When you play in those northern climates, man, you want to keep moving, long passes, keep running. It makes a difference.
I bet, because else you're gonna freeze if you stay
That's
in one
right.
spot.
No, I do agree with you, Fernando. But both of y'all have made some points. Yes, I mean Mexico has been playing tiki taka as long as I've been alive. So they just don't call it tiki taka. They just they could call it some other
They
name.
call it ole.
Yeah. So
Ole.
but
Well,
I think that
tiki-taka
where
is a bit
Barcelona
weird.
revolutionized what they did was defensively because it was constant pressure. They constantly forced teams to give it up, and then they would just drive people crazy with passing until they find the little openings, and they would score.
It was a defensive tactic to just keep the ball because they didn't have the players to defend, right? They're all a bunch of midgets, so they can't compete with height.
I don't think they were all that short, but
Yeah, man, they were all short except for like three guys. The back line guys,
Yeah.
Busquets and Valdez. The rest of them, they were.
I mean, look how successful it was in the last Eurocopa. They had other Barcelona guys and said, you know what, there's no point in playing with a striker because all he's going to do is give the ball away. So we're going to play with no striker. So they played like a 4-6.
I remember that. I remember Bolivia used to play that.
So they just played with 6 midfielders, and they destroyed teams. They just destroyed them. So I think that's what people don't understand about what happened with Spain's run. Yeah, they were a great team, but they had 2 guys, Iniesta and Xavi, that I don't know how they're not mentioned as the two players of this generation. How do these guys not get the press?
Because you got another Argentinian midget getting all the press.
But he would be nothing without those 2. I mean, he would have been a great player. Don't get me wrong, but they elevated his career so much, and he elevated theirs. I mean, there's no question. I mean, they helped each other.
It's a perfect combination. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, we really were privileged to watch it. It's going to be 20 years before we see a team like that again. It's going to be a while. That they were unbelievably special.
All you gotta do is look at there's no Xavi, no Iniesta in Argentina, and now you see how.
And he still made it to 3 finals in a row. Yeah, he sucks.
I wonder if Messi, since he spent so much time in Spain, if he isn't wondering or thinking, man, I should have turned Spaniard when I was younger.
I think Messi would always play for Argentina, but I'm sure it crossed his mind.
They did ask him. They did ask him. I think they asked him to join their youth teams.
Because he started at Barcelona when he was, 13, 14?
Yeah, really young.
You guys already talked about his retirement, right? I think.
We're in the process. I think, Fernando, that he is going to take a break until the next World Cup, and then he'll play the World Cup.
I think, like the way he saw it, like when you lose something like that, you've been in 4 finals, and everything has been changed, like coaches, players. The only thing that's been constant was him. So.
Dude, that is so not true. But please continue.
Well, I don't know. It's the truth, right? He's been the constant one, so it's easy for him to blame himself, maybe take himself out of the equation.
Oh, so you think that he was blaming himself? You think that he's saying, "Man, I'm the problem."
Yeah, he's saying maybe I'm the problem. I don't know what it is, but I've been to 4 finals, but there's been 4 different coaches, 4 different elements, 4 different situations, but I'm the only one who's been there. All 4 of them.
Fernando, you know what he did when he walked into AFA the last time?
You, you're cool, and I'm out.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
The problem with Argentina is they don't have any creative players. And Messi.
He was injured. He was injured and he missed. It was Pastore. He missed the tourney. He didn't get to play.
My question is,
where was Pastore last year in the World Cup and in the other Copa America?
He was injured too, man. Guy's always injured. Di Maria got injured too. They had bad luck with injuries, man.
Well, here's my question: why didn't Kun Agüero play with Higuaín and Messi right behind him? Man, they would have just like how was that guy on the bench? That guy does nothing but score impossible goals.
I think he doesn't have the stamina to play 90, man.
Cool.
Even at Manchester City, he doesn't play 90.
And then they left out Tevez, which was like, I just think he's that type of player that he could, put the team on his shoulders.
Tevez gave up on his professional career when he went back to Boca, dude.
Yeah, because Boca's terrible.
Hey, Jolie, is Pastore a 10 type though?
Wait, hold on. Wait,
that's kind of what I was getting at.
Pern, would you say Gio would have given up in his career if he would have gone to Monterrey? Because they wanted him, and he could have chose between Rayados and Galaxy. So would you say the same thing that he gave up?
Giovanni didn't go. to Monterrey or Galaxy, you know why? It's because one team didn't make the offer.
Professor.
Oh. That's why.
Yeah,
That's
he's
the only
for
team he would
America.
play for. He said so many times. That's the only team I would play for in Mexico.
Did he
So his
say
dad
America?
played for. Yeah, because his dad played for them. Which frankly, you know, if the Galaxy is offering whatever the deal was, 25, 30, America said, you know what, we'll give you 35. But they didn't do it.
Yeah, it would have been much better if he went to America, to be honest. Even if he didn't go to Rayados, but I would have more respect, for his career. But oh well.
I think it would have been it would have been the consummate move for both him and the franchise. They would have been they're perfect for each other.
Absolutely. Está bien fresa ese güey.
Absolutely. And we all know that there's only one team that the majority of the fresas root for.
Absolutely. So it would have been.
See, I'm as fresa as they come, but I'm a Pumas guy. So must have been an accident.
You're humble. That's okay. Well.
So you're saying that he puts too much pressure on himself, and he's saying, you know what, he's like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. He is endangering the mission. He has to go face his fears.
That's exactly what it is.
Nah, man, he's got his teammates choked, dude. Come on.
I agree with Juwan. His teammates have let him down, and he's carried all the weight of the team.
You know, I remember in the 2011 Copa America, which I can't even imagine the pressure he was under there because it was in Argentina, and their whole strategy seemed to be just give it to Lionel and let's see if he scores a goal. You know, like when you were playing when you're 6 years old, there's always the one kid that can dribble and score. So you try to get him the ball as quickly as possible. That's what they did. The other team locked it down, but he would almost score so many times, and that was in Argentina. It was so, and ended up losing in the quarterfinals. But
but when he gets the ball with Argentina, he's like further from the goal than when he is at Barcelona. So his role, even with Argentina, is completely different than his club team. And I mean, if you guys had the choice between Luis Suarez and Higuaín, I'm sure it would be obvious who you'd rather be.
Man, but why don't they use like Lavezzi or Kun Agüero? I mean, there's so many other options.
Too. Yeah, Lavezzi got injured.
Broke his arm.
Yeah, but that was in the semifinal.
Those players don't matter though. The forward, like.
I know,
but that's what I'm saying. I mean, in Argentina, it's a dime or a dozen. I mean, they it's the one country who's like fucking just pick like the guy that played for Tottenham. He had a fantastic. Why didn't he play more? Lamela. I mean, their bench was disgusting. Their bench is like if they're ranked number 1, their bench is like number 4. I mean, they have so many good players. They're the new Brazil.
Their best forward is asked to be a facilitator.
Messi.
Yeah.
Support. The Kun and the other guy you mentioned, those guys are up top, so he needs more support like alongside him.
They don't have midfielders.
All right, guys. The thing is Messi is a true captain right there. He was sinking with the ship and he went down with it, so he's just not gonna go on another trip. That's all.
Well, Mascherano, they were saying a lot of guys are gonna quit, so I think Bert is right. That ship is sinking and everybody's jumping off.
So I like Pern's logic, because that means Osorio should quit.
There's a video of these Argentina fans reacting.
He tried to quit though, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a soft fake quit. That's a fake quit, like yeah.
They say, hey man, if you want me to quit, I'll do it. It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's like when you fake apologize. You guys ever fake apologize? Hey, if I offended you, I'm sorry. the ultimate fake apology. Hey, if you found that offensive, I'm sorry.
What do they call it? When they quit and it's like.
That sounds like Univision's warning about the chants. Anybody finds this offensive.
Man, I'm not sure what's going on, but have you guys ever see the movie Contact and like the noise that they pick up? I keep hearing that on our call tonight. It's the yeah, that. What is that?
It's probably
Oh, is
me
that you,
because
Fernando?
I'm
Oh, you're in
in
the car.
yeah. So I
Okay.
put it in mute though when you were hearing that. I don't know.
No,
I
it's all
just
right.
muted it right now.
It's not a problem. It just I'm just glad that it's not an alien radio signal of Adolf Hitler. So
It's not Ronnie heavy breathing.
that definitely not. No, we miss Ronnie. We hope that he joins us again soon.
Yeah, I got a quick clip of these Argentina fans. It's pretty hilarious.
Hit us.
Check it out.
¡Dos finales seguidas con Chile, la regional! ¡Concha de tu madre, selección de mierda! ¡Solo Messi se salva a echarse todos, hijo de puta! ¡Son todos pecho frío! ¡Todo pecho frío! ¡Dos veces seguidas con Chile, la concha de tu hermana!
That's awesome.
The clip is like 13 minutes long of them reacting to the whole game, and they just go crazy at the end. It's pretty funny.
Hey, you see this at the stadium, and they'll be doing that to their own players.
Yeah, these guys got a huge YouTube channel. They had like 2 million views on this thing.
Wow.
They're called Los DC.
Now, this is another good segue now. So we've talked about Lionel and his retirement. We can now let's talk about the secuelas. La secuela 7-0. Read today that some players were thinking about retiring from the national team after the beatdown that they received. How long is it going to take for this team to get over this? Because I think they're going to be enfermos, and they're going to, like in the first 2 Hex games, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they lose the first one on the road, and if the second one is at home against the U.S., God help them.
This is what I think. And I think someone brought it up, or I heard on some show, and this sort of goes to the diva situation, that a lot of these players, like Hector Moreno, a lot of these players have a sure spot. They're not moving from their positions, from their call-up. They have no person competing with them. So that puts you sort of in a relaxed mode where you're just cruising along, and that can't happen if you want to keep a high level.
Dude, why not?
Maybe some of these guys need to, that are just sure in their spot and have no issue, no danger of somebody taking their spot. Maybe they're the ones that need to step down and retire.
But I mean, no offense, but there are about 200 national teams in this planet, on this planet, and about 195 of them have about 4 or 5 guys that have a sure spot. So, come on.
Hey,
Well,
man,
that's like Argentina. We talk about their depth and all these players.
Well, they have massive depth. Mexico doesn't have depth. We have a great 23. We do not have a great 46.
You know what? We got better midfielders than them.
Well, then Argentina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what Argentina is missing. But I think
I agree with you there. They have great forwards and great defenders, but if Mascherano, who's played the last 2 or 3 years as a central, and he has to come up and play in the midfield for his national team, you got a problem.
I do agree with that. Hector Herrera, and what's it called? Guardado, they're top notch.
That's what he's saying. He's saying that Mexico has a better midfield than Argentina.
If they don't play up to par like they did versus Chile, they need to be replaced, even if temporarily and shown. Like rotaciones is there. Everyone's talking about that. And do it to the big players. Do it like if Guardado is. If there's no leadership, like Cuauhtemoc is saying, or whoever else is saying, then put in some leadership.
I think Beto has a point because going back to the previous cycles, the last since 2006, Mexico has always struggled, and usually it's whatever coach is in charge. He's like Sven, he had his sacred cows that he kept calling up. Then Vasco came in and cleaned house, right? so you had a rotation. You had a rotation mid-cycle. Then Chepo came in. He was guns a-blazing until the Hex. Then he started to struggle, and then until the playoff thing where Piojo came in using the the Club America base to win the repechaje game. So I think and getting back to the point with Chepo was where the big strugglers with Chepo were Cheech and Gio that just they weren't scoring. You know, Gio went like on a
Guardado was also having a bad season.
and exactly, and then you still had the Torrados and the Israel Castros in the mix because you know there was nobody else exactly. So I think
Which is
I really
why it's
don't
so alarming that Rafa's playing right now.
precisely. That's another.
Although honestly, Cesar Montes is if Osorio if he has a decent Olympics, Osorio has to call him for those these 2 games that are coming up.
And you know, interesting that you bring up Rafa because, and I think this was one of Piojo's mistakes. He went about it the wrong way because he was trying to like not call him up anymore. I don't know if you guys remember after the World Cup, and he tried to retire him and Carlos Salcido.
Right.
And they threw a fit, so he ended up calling them for a friendly, and then Salcido he retired. He was like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's over. But Marquez stayed on. He stayed on board.
And then Vela came back though with Salcido retiring. Is that a coincidence?
I think Montes should come because of the Chile game. Montes needs to be called up now, and Moreno and Reyes need to know. Okay, there's somebody breathing down your throat, gonna take your spot.
He played so good in the final. I'm surprised he's not being featured.
Well, he's only 18. I mean,
that's how Rafa Marquez was when he came on board.
It would have been well.
And I mean, and most of our games are moleros or against like third-tier teams.
Well, he
like
has 2 official
Canada
that are might as well be moleros because Mexico's already qualified and they've already qualified in first place. So he has 2 qualifiers. One, in El Salvador. And let's face it, that's going to be a tough game. Because they're probably still playing for something. So they're going to give Mexico a hell of a game. That would. What a great opportunity for players to, somewhat redeem themselves if they go into the Cuscatlan and pull out a win. I know that it's just El Salvador, but even the 93 team who destroyed everybody in qualifying lost at the Cuscatlan, and that was when they still needed to win.
But this is one of their weakest teams ever, though.
I know, but weak is relative. I mean, they're always, not very good.
Is this the end of their bronze generation?
I mean, they don't. First, even their starters aren't as good as previous.
Remember that half their team was banned for 5 years because of online.
Yeah, and on top of that, half their team was banned, and then some of the other players that came, they were demanding more money. Some of those guys were kicked off. I don't see I just don't see this team. I will wait till the Hex to this for this team to like relieve the pressure.
Jolie, don't look past the CONCACAF opponents. Look at
No, I'm saying because we're qualified now.
We exited Europe twice this week,
Yeah, but that's a bit different. Like some of these teams, like Iceland, they came close to qualifying to the World Cup. They didn't just come out of nowhere. They've been working on that team for quite a while.
Yeah, they also knocked Holland out.
Isn't their coach like he's like the
Sweden? He was the Sweden coach. Who's never lost to England? He never lost to England when he was with Sweden.
I was reading that he works at a gas station, and like their players, they're like not even professional.
Wait, the coach?
Players.
Who, for Iceland? No,
yeah,
they got more of a handful of guys play like in England or Scotland they got plenty of professionals on that team.
Is it giving you hope, Juan?
What?
Well, some of the players work in gas stations and stuff like that.
Oh, you're saying I can my comeback at 40? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're getting at?
You could be like Rafa, dude.
Why not, man? If Gianluigi Buffon is still around, if If Robert Redford could play Major League Baseball at 40, why not? You know.
That'd be a hell of a good movie to make.
Well, yeah. El Chanfle was how old was El Chanfle?
Chanfle, the greatest soccer player in Liga MX history. I have to give it up to the
Yeah, that's the
scored the greatest goal in history. That is such a great movie. And
I refuse to watch it fully because he plays for America.
So you've never seen it?
No, I seen like a piece of it, but then I saw the yellow and I was like, no, not for me.
It made him nauseous, man.
Let me just say that you'll have so much respect for Don Ramon that you would want him to coach Mexico right now.
Oh, I will. You know what? I'm gonna take your word, John, and I'm gonna see it. You know what I've been looking for and I can't find? It was
Rudo y Cursi.
No, better, dude, way better. I think it was one of those. I don't know if you guys remember like Los Verduleros and movies like that with Luis de Alba, Alfonso Sayas.
Wait, he coaches a women's team?
And, no, they did one. They did one where they're panaderos, and they end up playing a scrimmage against Cruz Azul, the actual club. It's just hilarious, man. I can't find that clip.
Atlético San Pancho.
And their goalie, you know, going with the goalie chant. Their goalie is you know, le va al otro equipo, and
he would have responded and said, thank you very much.
He kept bundling the players. I forgot, man. I was a little kid when I seen it, but it's one of the best games I've seen there.
Now, did Cruz Azul start having their slide before or after this movie?
No, they managed to win that one. I remember when they won it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the one with Hermosillo got kicked in the head, and he scores that penalty. It was the Argentine goalie.
Was that against America?
No, it was I think Morelia or.
¿Y la Cruz Azuleo?
Or what, León, was it one of those teams? Do you guys don't remember that game? He had gotten kicked in the head, got the penalty, and he scores a.
And they scored, and they won the title. So it was 97?
Yeah, I think it was, their last one, yeah.
They were still in diapers, man.
No, dude, Joel is in his mid-60s, man.
late 30s.
Oh, okay. Well,
de
once you get
Parchís.
like 42, shit starts hurting a little more than you're used to.
I'm from Parchís. Parchís coming up here.
Parchís? Were you a fan of Parchís, Joel?
I was a little kid, so they'll put the records for me.
What about
No, it was another one. It was
Panini?
No, it had like a bunch of they would sing De Colores or some song like that.
It wasn't Timbiriche?
Nah, that was already like
It
was a twin. A tween.
Well, Parchís, they were Spain. They were Spaniards, weren't they?
That's what they were playing for me.
Parchís, cheese. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Were they really from Spain?
Yeah, they were from
Spain.
They
were white Mexicans.
Sorry, dude. You know, we can't claim Parchís. It's
You had two curly-haired blonde kids.
All right. Well, we should probably go into our final segment. Of course, we would be remiss if we didn't get an update of the player that we were all having our eye on down in Pachuca. So, Juan, how did it go this week?
You know, I'm not sure, man. I haven't been able to go in to have access, but remember I told you he was playing center mid, and they moved him up to play the 10. So I really don't know. I can't tell you.
Wow.
But
is that good or bad?
I think it's a better position, but I think Friday we'll know for sure. But these kids, there's two kids out here, and they both. I think today, you know, I couldn't get into the facility until the scrimmage was over, and but one of the kids, he killed it. He absolutely killed it.
Did you not tell him that you're a member of the Los Acero Football Podcast? Says, hey.
The thing is, Chris never emailed me my business card. So yeah, they know about the Dos a Cero podcast. The receptionist, she listens to it live, and then she has a poster of Fernando in the office.
Does she record it and then send the MP3 to Carlos Slim so that he stays abreast of our fantastic show?
Absolutely. And she had I'm telling you, she had a Fernando's mugshot on the wall.
What? Who?
Fernando.
Which one? Was it mugshot pre-mustache or a mugshot post-mustache?
It's a mustache. So the one where he and then he posed with La Volpe in his I think he's shirtless or something.
I need to get a La Volpe soundbite because maybe like when he talks about the abuelita. No, hasta mi abuelita puede.
That's a good one.
Have to do that. That's good. So so what's going to happen? They're going to come and say, hey, we want to admit these two guys to the academy. Or they're going to say, hey, man, these guys are great, but they're not going to fit into what we're trying to do right now. I mean, for a kid, obviously it'd be great for him to be accepted, but even if he's not, it has to be just an incredible experience for them and a learning experience that maybe they understand now. Just the dedication it takes to get to this point.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's only so many kids, even from like, for example, the first week there was like one kid from every state, maybe in Mexico. So if you had multiple kids from the same area, it was like very surprising. These guys, they scout the whole country, man. So definitely it's a privilege for them to be out here, but they came here for a reason, so they gotta deliver, or I'm leaving their asses here.
Damn! So you're gonna make them sell tacos on the street right outside the airport?
Chiclets. They gotta sell chiclets to get back.
You're not gonna be one of those guys that makes them like. Have you guys ever seen the fire breathers on the side of the road in Mexico? The guys that drink the gasoline and blow it out of their mouth on the flame, and then want a tip. Hey, watch me ruin my mouth for the next, for the rest of my life.
Hey,
Juan.
You're gonna be one of those parents that tell their kids, either you make it or just don't come back home.
That's what he said. That's what he's saying. Exactly what he's.
Is Juan gonna stay over there, or if kids make it, you're staying over there to live over there?
Yeah, we're looking at it. Yeah.
Are you gonna be a Pachucanero? Are you? If you're from Pachuca, what are you? A Pachucuense?
Gonna be a Mennonite.
A Pachuqueño?
I don't know, man.
Are the Chivas TV prices affecting you at all?
The Chivas TV price?
Yeah.
That's right, because if you move to Mexico, you'd have to pay to watch Chivas.
Have you
thought about that? Have you budgeted that in your?
I would do the monthly. I would do the monthly stream, 50 pesos. And watch it whenever I want. It will fit my schedule.
I've never been to Pachuca. Is it pretty?
It's a nice city. There's it kind of what I like actually. Their public transportation is very well designed.
Well, Pachuca tiene lana, right? They have money there.
They must, man. But you know what? I saw a protest on the street the other day. So, like, I was driving by their stadium, and there was a protest going on.
Was it after the 7-0? Were they protesting the 7-0?
No, you know what? They might be protesting the Chivas TV. Now that I think about it.
Sounds about right.
I do agree that the government should subsidize some of those Chivas TV prices. Should be like if you live in Guadalajara, you should get the government should pay us.
Well, people in Guadalajara had to pay to watch Chivas anyway because they could only show it on Sky. They wouldn't show it on TV Abierta. Excuse me. So your gut feeling, it sounds like, Juan, is it's a toss-up.
I can't tell you. I can't give you a definitive answer. I've been out in the field. I've seen them. They're sometimes if they were, it just depends what the because this week they've been scrimmaging the academy team, so it just depends what the coaches are feel their team needs, you know.
Right.
But I mean, these kids they will fit in, both of them. So I think it's just I'm not sure what the scouts what their
How do they match physically? Like height and like
the
speed.
thing is that Pachuca. If you look at their, for example, they pick really big kids. They're early bloomers physically, and they, for example, I was looking at the U17, which is 2000, 2001. Those guys, they look like grown men already, and
Yeah,
they're mostly.
Because Hans was helped set up their system, and I remember him. His ideal height was like at least for like an average height for the team was like 5'11".
Yeah, they got some big guys over here, man. I think I mentioned to you guys. There's a goalie that I see training that he's easily.
You said he was like 9 feet. He's like young in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, he's a giant, man. That exactly. And I think all he says is Hodor. So, Hodor, you know. Hold the door.
You're gonna be on. You ever seen that show, Trophy Kids? They'll be like them, man.
No. Is that parents that are
Yeah,
they go to the press conference and like Pepino Cuevas' mom?
They go crazy on their kids. Like they yell at them. You know, if they don't perform
they
well.
see their kids as their meal ticket.
Oh no, that TV show is based on my life, man.
That's what we figured.
No, I'll be more like
that Pachuca has to open up the checkbook.
Absolutely, man. They gotta splash the cash somehow. You know, I'll take a Vocho or a Ferrari. You know.
We're gonna see you post on Instagram from your hut in Cancun and all this vacation stuff.
Do they have internet in Cancun? I wonder, man. Would you want to be on the internet?
Very good internet in Cancun. Very good internet in Cancun. It was not bad.
Never been there. I have to. You know, when you go on the website or the travel websites, the vacations there, they seem pretty reasonable.
Well, there's just an enormous pile of hotels in Cancun. Just hundreds of them, hundreds. That's why I always thought Cancun would be a perfect city to have an indoor stadium, because it has to be indoor. I mean, it's hotter than hell. And they could have the Club World Cup in Cancun. Who wouldn't want to go to Cancun in December for Club World Cup? I'm being dead serious, man. Who would? You want to go to Yokohama where it's
freezing?
Yeah, 30 degrees, or Cancun where it's sunny and 82.
Send me up.
Chugging some beers.
All right, so one last thing that I thought was interesting. Iceland beat England yesterday 2-1, and I saw people trying to say, that's how Mexico should be. They should aspire to be a team, not think that they're one of the elites. And I think that's just totally wrong. I think that Mexico should aspire to be one of the elites, and not just be a team that's happy to beat England or Italy every once in a while.
I absolutely agree with that sentiment. As a matter of fact, this is actually what kind of irks me sometimes. I remember Jotoel talked about how.
Wait.
What?
You, you're cool, and I'm out.
All right, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. That how Jotoel used to make fun of La Volpe, how he couldn't beat a team from Angola in the World Cup, and because they had teachers that were not even full-time soccer players. But then you see
England
they
losing.
had
a postman was the goalie.
Yeah, and then you have here, a team that's like you said, mostly all normal professionals, and they beat England. Come on, man, it happens. It's just the way it is.
Hey, I saw some funny criticisms of the England manager Roy, where I guess it was a translation of they might have been Belgian announcers, where they said, Roy's looking at the watch because he learned in a course that his first sub, he's got to make it at the 60th minute mark. And his second one, he's got to wait till the 70th or 75th minute mark. I just thought it was pretty hilarious. I guess they were saying he's too dogmatic in that respect. Like he should have read the game a little better.
But see, that's the thing, though, is that like he and the rest of England was guilty of the way that Mexico plays against CONCACAF teams sometimes. They're like, Iceland, man, we don't have to prepare for that. We don't have to do anything for that. It's
yeah.
Iceland. And Iceland took it to them. And Iceland should have won the game, 3 or 4-1. I mean, they had a couple of chances where either the goalie made an incredible save, or it was just one of those, the guy's 3 yards away and he just hits it right at the goal. I mean, they had a couple of really good chances to go up a lot. I mean, they outplayed England. There's no question. But anyway, so I guess my point is that I don't necessarily agree with, especially media folk who they're the ones that say that Mexico should be this, and I'll start to say, well, what, Mexico, you need to basically say learn your place in the world. And I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, I think the problem, John. There's no patience really to try to achieve something greater. I mean, like we didn't really talk about it, but for example, the Olympic team with Potro. Potro. 5 years ago he was like the best coach in Mexico according to everybody. He took two youth teams. He won a U17 with Fierro generation. And then he got to the final with a different generation, and at the time, Sergio Almaguer had the U20s, and so he was looked at as a joke, like he was the one holding back the players. I lost my. So, I think there's no patience to make the adjustments and to address really what the and find the real root of the problem is. Like they just basically, it's the coach. Let's just roll his, the heads have to roll.
Pull it out root and stem.
Say that again?
You pull it out root and stem, you start all over again.
Yeah, I mean, but they never address the real problem. Like for example,
but
Mexico,
you know why?
longest...
But you know what? That's not gonna change, because our federation's not. It's not run independently. It's run by all the club owners. So their interest is always gonna get in the way of like having a set plan and going through with it. So even if you have you always have like the FMF will be divided into like 2-3 groups, and they all have their idea of how the national team should.
They don't understand that if they just let it happen and just go with the long run, it would make them so much more money in the long run.
I agreed, but
exactly.
I've compared it to Jenga. So like you take the one piece and try to put their piece on the top, and then the other group takes their piece and.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and they're all thinking, because this is the best way to go about it.
You mean like when Vergara thought it would be a good idea to bring in Sven Goran Eriksson? Yeah,
and then going by when he talked about because he wrote a book, and he says how he had to give explanation to all the owners.
Oh, Sven.
Yeah, and it's like they would even question him like why he chose a certain hotel or stuff like that. So I mean, so if the owners have influence on the coach, they're obviously going to push to have their players.
Do you guys
in
think
the national team?
Osorio was dictated a lineup in the last game?
Like dictated in which players to play?
Exactly. Somebody said, you know what, maybe start these guys.
Well, somebody said
maybe
that,
not dictated, but do you think he was influenced?
Somebody said he was dictated to not call up Gio. So that was the case.
Well,
then.
Webb says that. I say that too.
I think he didn't call him up because he's in the MLS. And you got guys playing in better leagues. Being honest.
Yeah, the MLS, man. Come on.
Because I mean, he didn't call up Carlos Vela either, because Carlos Vela plays in a better league.
Carlos Vela had a terrible season. He didn't deserve to be
had a terrible season. and Gio wasn't having a good season, and then he was off for 6 months
Yeah,
or
but
however
Gio was
long.
on fire, man. I'm seeing, and that's why do you think Chicharito had such a good run into South Africa, man? You cannot. It's been teams like Mexico who don't have that much depth. You cannot afford to not have. I mean, who going into that tournament had any kind of heat? Because even Chicharito, his last few games with Leverkusen was hit or miss. So
But remember, Gio went on that 2-year slump that
yeah,
that
but what I'm
cost
saying
him his job.
is that before the Copa America, he was absolutely on fire. Absolutely on fire.
In you mean in MLS?
Yeah.
No, he started the season injured.
I'm saying right before the Copa America, like before they even made the announced the team, he had a run
Oh.
where he had scored 6 goals in 6 games, was playing great, had had just as many assists, was playing really
He
well.
hasn't called him up, period, though. Like he hasn't looked at him. He hasn't looked how he's gonna fit into his plans. He might not even. And he didn't. You guys mentioned maybe there's I think you mentioned it, John. Maybe maybe they are influencing the list in regards to the Dos Santos brothers with their
Well,
cheerleading
the TV Azteca guys were not happy that they, this cracks me up. Why is it that only newspaper people can have libertad de expresión and no one else?
A mí no me maneja nadie. Yo no soy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seriously, they can have libertad de expresión, but Giovanni can't, or Paul Aguilar, or any of them.
And you know what? I'm sure. I mean, I was cheerleading Piojo too. Yeah, punch Marinoli. He's such a spazzo, man.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just it cracks me. Why is it that Martinoli can completely, publicly, very publicly, trash Piojo
and his family
personally and his family, and think that that's okay? I think, oh well, I'm entertained. I'm an entertainment business. I'm entertaining people. What is that?
Yeah, John. That was one of my critiques because they and we talked about this. It's the federation should have looked to put a stop to that, especially given that TV Azteca is they show the
it goes to show you who's more important in their pecking order, is what it shows you.
Yeah, that's just, and it's kind of funny how like a lot of the people, it seems like normal. There was really like no, I don't remember seeing any criticism to Martinoli for what he was doing.
Exactly, which is it's sad to me. And like even when they use the word corriente, I mean corriente to me is just a polite word for saying naco. It's like the way you can whisper, like people like when they whisper, oh, Gina's not doing it well. Cancer. It's kind of like, él es muy corriente. Naco. That's what they're saying.
It was the journalists that were backing up their
Have you ever heard or known any similar incident, like even in any other country where the announcer is publicly attacking a player or a coach?
It's terrible. I mean,
a rights holder,
guys.
Not just any commentator, but a rights holder.
Right. It's one thing to criticize someone for what they've done on the pitch for 90 minutes. That just comes with the territory. Criticize or praise my decisions or whatever it is, it happens. But for a guy like that to just tear into someone, attack somebody, insult somebody and their family on the air, I mean that is so unbelievably unprofessional. To say the least.
Doesn't that happen in Argentina all the time though, with their passion and everything? I'm trying to think of what the announcers said.
Where they like attack like the guy's wife and kids.
La Volpe got the chance to his mom, but that was by the fans. So I don't know if you know.
Yeah, well, I mean that happens in a stadium, but I mean if it's just. Could you imagine Andres Cantor doing that? I mean, Andres Cantor gets very passionate, but he gets passionate about the game. He doesn't, he's not gonna. And I'm not saying that he's, like the standard bearer, but I mean, there's so many announcers that just would never do that.
Well, you got Cristiano Ronaldo grabbing the microphone off of one dude and throwing it into a pond. I mean, that's not physical assault like Piojo did, but I'm sure there's some physicality.
But you know, we've had some of our other staff do. You had Aguirre, I think he kicked a player from Panama.
Yeah, Panama.
Yeah, but
And
that's in
then-
the game. That happened. I mean, I'm fine with that. He didn't
No,
kick
no,
him.
He's trying to get the ball, man.
And then you had
That's right.
what was La Volpe's assistant? Paco Ramirez.
Paco
He
Ramirez.
slapped Frankie Haydude in the face.
No, but that was when he was Sven Goran Eriksson's assistant. That was terrible. But,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but again, that happens in the heat of the game.
That was in the
was at the airport, which again should have never been at the airport anyway.
Cuauhtemoc punched
Faitelson.
Yeah, Faitelson.
But that's Cuauhtemoc, man. No one's gonna do nothing to him.
Sucker punched him too.
By the way, big shout out to David Gonzalez and Bill Mann for joining us tonight. Thank you very much, fellas. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But my point is it just seems like it's, as Hoyle said, rights holders shouldn't act like that. And then he was, if anything, he was praised. He was such, he did so well, and it just, that whole thing.
It was expected too. I mean, that's the way their show is, and I think I mentioned it when I was in Mexico last year. Their whole show is that way. Like they were showing, like when they played Jamaica, they were showing clips of like provocative pictures of what's her name, that singer.
During the game.
Well, pre-game.
So basically, they want to have it as madre on the air.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they were making all kinds of crude jokes. It was basically like
our show, like our podcast.
Exactly, it was crude, the crude of crude, all kinds of just like.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Might as well put that clip in that show, and that's what they're doing, man. Pre-game, and then during the game, you'd expect all this kind of stuff. So it's just part of the whole. That's the way they run things.
So that's their shtick. I mean, I understand that. I mean, you can do that, but you can. But just don't attack people personally. Not on the air like that. And especially a guy like Piojo, where, tarde o temprano, to him it was more important to defend the honor of his family and anything else than his job. And that's the kind of guy he is. Serious? I'm being dead serious. I mean, you don't think that he knew exactly after he'd done it? It's like, oh man, I just lost my job. I mean, you don't think that he knew that?
Hey guys, did you guys already talk about today's anniversary of the No Era Penal? I wore black today for that reason.
Hey, you know what? It was a penalty though.
It was not.
You guys need to stop crying over that stuff.
Nah, it wasn't a penalty. But you know what? They got away with some fouls in the first half, so I guess.
He did kick him, dude. You could see him. You could see the contact.
Tapped him with his foot. This is what I mean. But Robin looked like he'd gotten shot, and the ref fought it. It's a penalty.
He did exaggerate. He did exaggerate the ball, but there was contact.
There was contact. There was right.
There was contact with Messi in the final, and the they didn't call it penalty.
Did Messi go flying like Robin did?
Exactly. So Messi didn't sell it. Robin did.
No, exactly. You have to sell it. In a game like that, you have to sell it.
But you know what, John? If there had been no contact, I would have been bummed about it.
Oh, of course, but I mean, but my whole thing about that play was, what the fuck are you doing? Excuse me, what are you doing? Even touching the guy, knowing that he's an infamous and a damn good flopper.
And he wasn't at an angle to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, all he could do was, pass it off, and you go and you give him a little love tap with your toe. I mean, it's just so stupid. That's what makes me mad about that play. The fact that they called the penalty. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean,
you had just the young players like Diego Reyes couldn't keep up with them.
See, to me, the biggest mistake that Piojo made in that game was to not play for the counter. Like he made a move to counterattack what they were doing. It's like, no, just let them do it. They're going to do it anyway, dude. You can't stop that. But when you do stop them, hit them hard. That's what makes me mad. He didn't play that. They tried to do the stupid possession thing when they had the ball when they were just exhausted. It's like, man, just boot it out to Chicharito or whatever other winger you want to put up there.
That's what they were doing. They're bunkering. Well, they weren't doing that. They were bunkering. They were on defensive the whole
Well,
time.
they were, but the problem was is that they would get the ball, but instead of like quickly just getting it out of there, they'd pass to the midfielders. And the midfield, I mean, Hector Herrera was totally gassed. He had nothing. He had nothing in the tank for the last 20 minutes of that game. He just couldn't play.
I also for like a match of this caliber, and it reminds me of the Cruz Azul final in Libertadores.
In the movie?
¿Y la Cruz Azulio?
When they're against Boca and they throw in Emilio Mora, but they had a dude. What was this Archie's name? He had long blonde hair. This midfielder. Damn, I can't believe he's really good player. No, they left him in. No, no, man. But I think like you have a more experienced player or more apt for those type of games, and I feel like they throw in Aquino, who is still pretty green. I don't know why he would put in Aquino. Like he gambled it on that player.
Yes, what it said is that he put in a guy to more for the defense because of
Hector Adomaitis. I just remembered it was Adomaitis.
So you're saying a guy who a cagey guy, like I understand what you're saying.
Someone that's played in finals that they played under pressure. Because to me, Aquino's pecho frío, but that's my personal take. But
dude,
I mean,
Aquino won the gold medal, man. He was coming off he had a really big role. His performances were very crucial in the gold medal. Obviously, it's a youth tournament, I guess, but
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But it was a youth tourney, so that's
except the final. Difference. The final Brazil that was Brazil's team.
Shout out to Ronnie on the chat. He's studying.
He's making moles. But who would have you guys? Who would you guys put instead? Like who did we have that you guys felt would have been?
Team?
Gallito was suspended. I think that's what messed up everything.
A midfielder that can hurt you.
Yeah,
or
like a Conejito Brizuela would have been a good. Well, he's even greener than Aquino. But,
so much for our depth, right, guys?
Exactly. Boom.
Well,
Carlos Vela, he would have been perfect.
You don't sub out Gio. That's the first thing.
Yeah, but Gio was cramping, so he was done. Well, the big problem was that he had Moreno out, so he lost the sub. That was his his biggest obstacle.
And you know what kind of shin guards was Robin wearing? Because it was basically, shin guard to shin guard contact.
Ask Wemes for America. The same thing happened to him.
It's crazy.
Yep. So, hey, thanks for that, Fernando, for taking us down memory lane. You know what the worst part about it? I don't know if I ever told you guys this. The worst part about that game after it was over is that my sister called me, and we were on the phone for like 15 minutes, and we didn't say we didn't say one word to each other. Just on the phone. Just listening to each other breathe. I'm serious. And they're like, all right, that happened. All right, well, talk to you later. Bye. All right, gentlemen. I think on that note, we can go ahead and wrap up our lovely little show here, the Los Acero Football Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Ronnie, who is studying.
Back, guys. Sorry about that.
He's gonna lower guac prices. He's gonna roll them back.
Yeah, by governmental decree, we'll roll back his guacamole prices. This has been the Dos Acero Football Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, we're live on the YouTube. Thank you for you folks on YouTube for the chat, and you can of course download this podcast on iTunes later in the week. Juan Uribe, thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you, guys. Good to chat with you guys again. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, and hopefully your boys will stay down at Pachuca.
Absolutely. We'll get a 2-0 or 7-0 team, the Ferrari.
Sounds great. Fernando
luck, man.
Regino, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you guys for having me also.
Always a pleasure. Joel Aceves, as always, a pleasure.
Likewise, Yon.
And our fearless engineer, Alberto Chiquiscampa, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been real. Thanks.
All right, boys. This has been the Los Acero Football Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We will talk to you guys again next week.